Bran's diminutive figure lay under a magic cloak given to all the walkers by Aradia, Elf Queen of Phoenicia. Months of planning, hardship, and pain would be rewarded, or he, along with his friends, would die here in Plaga Erebus, the dark kingdom of Magnar. Ash spewed up from the Bruna Hatan, the fountain of hate, where dark lightning crackled and hummed, at the top of its metallic peak just a mile from their position. The ash spread outwards from the terrible fountain, creating a gloomy pall that covered the sky, blending day into night. Dark lightning crackled behind them, flickering all along the borders of Magnar's realm of nightmares, forming an impenetrable barrier obviating the need for border guards. Nearly all of the dark elves and men comprising Magnar's army of conquest lay dead upon hate-filled battlegrounds across the great lands known as Nostraterra. Most of the remnants gathered at the Sanguine Templar, the enormous temple complex only miles from the fountain, sacrificing captives from all the races, fueling the dark lightning. Others roamed the confines of the land, patrolling between the temple and the fountain, guarding against any interference while Magnar brooded and festered in malice, plotting his resurgence. Aradia, Elf Queen of Phoenicia, driven from her realm into exile in the human realm of Eldora, used her magic to find a small rent in Magnar's lethal defenses, allowing the Watchers to penetrate step by step, avoiding all contact with the guardians of this dark kingdom. Horses could not fit through the small stone archway that was the only ingress to this land, and the Elven cavalry waited upon the hills just outside the shimmering fence of death, waiting for their chance to rescue the walkers upon their success. Now, with a slight increase in light, the day was beginning. They must strike soon or risk detection this close to the fountain. One of Bran's fellow walkers, the Dwarven king Nis, approached, leaned down to whisper, "It's time, Bran. Stay behind me, while I see if I can breach this infernal pipe." Nis and Bran moved to the edge of a freshly dug hole only 3 feet down, where the top of a subterranean pipe lay, flowing with the raw magic supplying the fountain. Bran's 3 closest friends from their homeland of Platonia were gathered close to Bran, chosen from amongst their fellow Gracies to bear the water of life from their spring of hope to this terrible place. The 4 men from Eldora lurked nearby, their bows at the ready as they covered the rest of the party. The 3 Dwarven engineers accompanying Nis had located this section of pipe, which was close enough to the surface to be breached, digging the hole. Now the magic of the dwarves must sever the hard metal of the pipe for Bran to complete his mission. Nis took an ornate ancient warhammer from his pack, its head made of solid platina, a priceless metal mined by dwarves, and Nis muttered an ancient dwarven spell, withdrawing a gleaming crystal cylinder capped in platina, which shone with hundreds of changing colors and tiny shapes. Nis inserted it into a socket in the top of the hammer. Muttering for everyone to stay back but his fellow dwarves, Nis struck down through the hole in the ground, hitting the pipe with a tremendous metallic crash. Small bits of black metal spewed up into the air from the hole, and Nis lurched backward, pulled by the dwarves. "Now, Bran," said Nis. Bran and his 3 fellow Gracies approached the hole, and peering down, Bran saw a large rent made in the dark pipe, where a thick dark red liquid swirled its way to the fountain. The smell of rotting flesh emanating from the fissure was nearly overwhelming. Death in liquid form, thought Bran. So Aradia was right. Gracie law held only life can defeat death, and now Bran uncapped the jar of blue liquid, the waters of life carried from Platonia. His fellow 3 Gracies held him around the waist as he poured in the waters, and for a moment nothing happened. Bran feared that he had failed. Suddenly the liquid in the pipe turned from red to a purple white, welling up from the pipe into the hole, as the ground beneath their feet shuddered. The fountain's muttering flicker visible above their heads stuttered and went out. An unearthly quiet descended upon the land. Then the tower exploded in flickering sheets of shimmering energy, blue-white bolts discharging up from the ground and into the sky in actinic courses, running along the ashes of the surrounding desert.